We really do appreciate you all taking the time to be out here. This is an incredibly important election, and to see so many faces, a lot of familiar faces, so many people willing to step up and play an active role in this thing is really encouraging. This is an election, both locally, statewide, and nationwide, that we simply can't afford to lose. So thank you all so much for being here. I'm gonna keep this short because I'm under no illusion that any of you are here to hear me talk.
So you're the guy that knows stuff.
Yeah, right. So with that, I'm going to turn this over to Sean Astin. And if you had told me that was a sentence I would get to say in my lifetime 6 months ago, I would have said you are a crazy person. But ladies and gentlemen, Sean Astin.
That's awesome. Thank you, Christian. Thanks. Hi, everybody. Good morning. Sun's coming up. I noticed that. Corn's all gone, right? Windmills are turning. And we all get to... who's going to go see Hillary this afternoon? Yeah? Maybe, you say? Maybe. You're just riding the fence. I know, you're like these undecided voters. What else do you need, people? 18 months. I mean, come on. Am I right?
Right.
There's so much to say. I'm going. I get to be on the program. I'm one of the few speakers who gets to go before. So it's thrilling for a bunch of reasons. The first time I ever did anything in politics was 1992. I got to give a speech before I spoke. I was one of the people on the program before Hillary at Colorado University. It was her biggest solo event of the campaign. First Lady of Arkansas, nobody really knew who she was. 15,000 people turned up. And I had never spoken in public, like in a political setting before. I had never kind of gone on the record with my own feelings or beliefs or declared my affiliation with anyone before. So it was nerve-wracking, but it was an incredible experience for me. This is my testimony. I'm truncating it for you here since you guys have voting to do and I'm sure days to get to, but I go on and on about this. But basically, she got up on the stage and she was my age. She was the age I am now then. She was 47 probably, I'm 45. So I just printed a picture out of it, and oh, we were so young then. Oh, I'm telling people, like, I can speak to the millennials issue, the millennials, because I'm the father of a millennial. Like, yeah, right? Like Goonies, but you were Goonies. Like, I know, it was 30 years ago. You know, what about Rudy? Like, yeah, I was a millennials age when we made that movie, and Lord of the Rings. You still look so young. Yeah. So, but that day in Colorado was the most important day of my civic life. Never mind that my mom was president of a labor union. Never mind that since then I've been on a couple of presidential council type things. That day was so meaningful to me, and it was because of Hillary. She got on the stage and she just thundered away for over an hour. The briefing booklet they had given me, which I tried desperately as an actor to memorize on my way to the venue, you know, with all the bullet points, and I forgot everything as soon as I stood up. And all I talked about was, you know, my wife and I are in community college, and we've been talking about having kids, and we've been thinking about what kind of world we want to bring our kids into, and, you know, we want them to be able to go to good schools, and we want it to be safe, and we'd like to have our natural resources protected, and we like the people around the world to like us, and, you know, like those, so we can travel. We like traveling, and I tried actually in my little talk to connect my life, our life and experience to the briefing booklet that I had read. Well, Hillary got up there, and that booklet was the appetizer. She just understood all of the issues that were a part of the campaign, that were being responsive to the people cold. She just knew them. And there's something you can't fake. You know, you can do a lot of things, good actors can do a lot of things, but she absolutely convinced me that she was speaking from her core, from her guts. You can't fake genuine compassion and genuine caring about other people. And watching her through all the ups and downs over the next 24 years, I've always applied the same critical analysis to my support for her, to who she is as a public servant. I try not to judge people for who they are in life, but even you can't help that. I've always applied the same standard. That is, does she still care about people? Does the work of her life, did the decisions she make, do the words she utters demonstrate a genuine compassion and caring for other people? And the answer has always been yes. So the part that was the speech was extraordinary. I loved listening to her. It was electrifying. She had the crowd in the palm of her hands, 15,000 people all thinking the same thing. You know, this lady should be president. Like, you absolutely, I guarantee they were all thinking that. But she right when the speech was over, she turned around, she shook my hand, and she looked me right in the eye, and she said, "Thank you for being here." And I was like I would have paid money to be here for this, you know. And then we went down, and we were about to do some TV interviews, local news interviews, and we were standing together, and I said, "Hillary, is there anything in particular that you think I should focus on in these news media interviews?" And she said, she just looked at me and she turned her head and kind of smiled, and she said, "Just tell them why you want to be involved." Wow, what a civics lesson. What I heard was, "Hey, we trust you." She didn't know me from Adam. The campaign didn't know me from Adam. She just knew that I had moved my body onto the stage and was standing behind her. And that was enough to say, "Let's go, come along." Because you can't have a movement if you don't trust the people who are moving with you. And make no mistake, 14 million people voted for her, right? 19 million in 08. We are standing shoulder to shoulder with millions of people as you cast your vote right now. You're actually in the vanguard. You're leading by example, which I just think is so cool. That's exciting. The fact that Iowa does mail-in voting, early voting. There's no reason people can't vote now. No reason. Homeless maybe, but I'm sure there's ways to reach out to those folks too. But anyhow, we were just talking. Kelly? Karen and I were just talking. She said that one of the things I talked about in Des Moines, I've been in 13 states. I'm going to do this joke when I talk today at the thing. I'm going to say I've been in 13 states, Iowa, and then I'm going to go through the 13. You know, Maine, Maryland, New York, Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Nebraska, Colorado, Missouri, North Carolina. That's more than 13, isn't it? Anyhow, and then I'm going to go Iowa, and I'm going to go, "Oh, did I say Iowa?" That's right, because I came back to Iowa. That's going to be my joke. So don't tell anybody. Shh, don't tell anybody. Anyhow, I could go on. I've got, I'm not sure what issue. As I look around, I'm profiling you right now. I'm profiling you. All right, one of the things, did anybody get the book, the Stronger Together book? I always, for months, I've been directing people to the website. Go to the website to look up your issues. Now I direct them to her book. I actually got the physical book, and I downloaded it online, and I poured through it, and there's a lot of really, really cool information about what their plans are. There's no guarantee that those plans can come across. It really requires the work of all of us, all the millennials, anybody who thinks that the worldview that's communicated in their mission plan is, a smart way forward, or at least a good launching point. It requires people to support it. She supported a 12-hour federal minimum wage hike, a $12 an hour federal minimum wage hike. It was negotiated in the party platform, $15. So she said, "Okay, I'll fight for $15, but I need everybody. I need all of Bernie Sanders supporters. I need it, or I won't be able to get that." So if you really believe in the causes you're fighting for, take a look at what she's. I'm speaking to our own people now, and by our own people I mean Americans who, are willing to work with anyone of good conscience. So I could go on and on. Remember, in your social media, I know you're hot on social media. I can just tell. Yeah. You've got Snapchat all over. Like, okay. But listen.
I did post on Facebook this morning.
There you go. That you were going to vote. That's awesome. The thing to include, and you can go in and edit that if you want to add a little something. I learned that. My millennial. Actually, it wasn't even my millennial kid who taught me that. It was the 11-year-old. But let's not talk about that. But just put iwillvote.com in your social media communications. Because sometimes people get dropped off the voter rolls, or if they move, or they're not sure. My wife just checked us. I'm like, yeah, it's probably good for a Hillary Clinton surrogate to make sure that he's actually registered. I just assumed, because I voted, 16 times in our current house, but she double checked it. So iwillvote.com, and then I just learned that, you guys probably all know this anyway, but this is part of my spiel, is that up till People can vote through iwillvote.com up until the week before the election, and then there's a pause, and then on election day they can do same day registering and voting. So that's my. Have you guys all signed up to the text thing? Yeah, IA. You just text the letters IA to 47246. It's awesome. I did it, and I get these little prompts, and I feel they're better than the emails. The email blasts, you're like, all right, I get it. But the text, they're a little more judicious with how they send you text. They seem targeted and specific, so I appreciate that. But thank you for everything that you've done. For those of you who have volunteers, for those of you supporters, even for those of you who've come out to vote and who haven't been a part of the campaign yet. On behalf of the campaign, I invite you, as the state has invited you, and all your neighbors and friends have invited you to come in and do a little volunteering. Raise your hand if you have not volunteered yet. Let me shame you. Anybody not volunteered? Raise your hand if you have volunteered. Right? Okay, I see you. See what I did there? Volunteering is it's easy and it's fun and it's safe. Okay, it's none of those things. No, I'm just kidding. It actually is really, really rewarding. It's the citizen activism, citizen democracy. People forget 240 years ago, the only way you could campaign was by tapping your friends or neighbors on the shoulder and taking a risk that then we're going to turn you in, and having a conversation about this new idea of democracy. Now, we're legally allowed to call each other on the telephone, knock on each other's doors, and say, hi, the election's coming up, and this is what I'm doing, and I'd like to encourage you, and do you remember where you're supposed to vote or how to vote? And so that's what the ground game is. When you listen to political analysis, it gets so they're so cavalier, they're so callous about the way they say ground game, as though there's some sort of, Minutemen waiting somewhere to be, I don't know what. But ground game just means citizens communicating with each other. And Hillary Clinton and the Clinton campaign of the Democratic Party, up and down the tickets in this state and all the states I've been in, and every state, are really deserve a lot of credit for mobilizing voter protection squads, armies of attorneys who are helping to make sure that voter rolls are protected and that there's rapid response forces on election day to make sure that the will of the people is actually heard. So, we, the Hillary supporters, Democrats, the coordinated campaigns, really should pat ourselves on the back because we're the party that works so hard to ensure that Americans can exercise their franchise freely and fairly. So thank you for your participation in that. Please keep it up. 6 more weeks. I'll do I have my closing line spiel that's awesome, but I'll right before I say that, I'll just say that every election, every campaign that you do, it's the most important election. Presidentials, this is the most important presidential election in the history of Earth, and a lot of times it's true. Never mind that we have one of the most exceptionally qualified, deeply experienced, and lifelong committed public servants, available to us as an electorate to hire, to send forward into the world on our behalf. But there is a very, very real risk that our country could make an awful mistake, an awful, 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 terrible mistake. Her opponent, Donald Trump, has no experience in government. 0. This is not a job you want to... never mind the appalling things that he says, that he continues to say day after day, the people's feelings he hurts, the way he stokes people's, not just their fear, but their bloodlust. Never mind the policies, the compromises to our international relationships and treaties and alliances that he's threatened, and never mind all of that. The guy just doesn't know anything about government. It's not that he doesn't know anything about government. He's never served in government. You can't put somebody in charge of reforming the criminal justice system who is only now for the first time in his life starting to put himself in the other guy's shoes and wonder what it's like to feel through the issues of systemic racism. You just can't put that guy in charge of that. So that's my tough thing. My positive wrap up is, my mom is Patty Duke. You guys know my mom passed away in November, or in March, sorry. I told Hillary when I got a moment to speak with her that they knew each other, that one of the last things my mom did on this earth was vote for Hillary in the Idaho primary, so which was pretty cool. And my stepdad did too. My little brother voted for the other guy, so we came out one ahead in our house. But anyhow, this is what I say: you never hire anybody solely on the basis of gender or skin color, race, creed, sexual orientation. You never hire somebody solely on that issue. People have to be qualified for the jobs they're hired for, and those parts of themselves should be factored in. That said, I was raised by a strong and powerful woman. This is my big spiel. I was raised by a strong and powerful woman. I've been married for 24 years to a strong and powerful woman. We are raising 3 daughters to become strong and powerful women, and it is way past time that this country elects a strong and powerful woman to become the President of the United States of America. And I'm going to say the same thing this afternoon.